Happy Wednesday, January 18th, 2023. Made a video yesterday. It didn't get posted. I rambled for 20 minutes, then the phone died, and I said, forget it. I'm just not going to post it. I talked about electric vehicles and how that's a big scam and a control mechanism. World Economic Forum, Klaus Cotton Schwab, talking about being the master. We need to master the future. Master the future. We need to master the future because we need to take over all the world and all your peoples. You need to be subservient sheep, and we will own it all, and you will have nothing, and you will like it and eat the bugs. Unbelievable. Why do we listen to these people? Why do we give them power? I'm talking about him, so I'm giving him energy. Greta Thunberg, the little girl. Greta Thunberg. Apparently she was arrested by the Polizei. I don't know if it was in Germany, I would imagine. She was arrested by the police for protesting, some expansion of a coal plant or something like that. That stuff that works? That stuff that can actually produce energy. And actually, before I get into that, the whole thing was staged because the video, somebody was taking the video of the whole arrest, and they staged the whole thing. The cops stand there, and then she stands there. They get the perfect picture. They're, she's grabbing her by the arm. I mean, the whole thing was staged. And you can say she was actually arrested, though. Okay, if she was actually arrested, then the police treated her with very preferential treatment because they stood there for a photo op while everybody's laughing and getting in position in the mud. I mean, come on. At what point do you wake up and say everything you see on TV, everything you see in the mainstream media is fake? Wag the dog. Go watch the movie where there was this fake war going on and they just used footage to get more money and more control. Wag the dog. They tell you what they're gonna do before they do it. Sometimes decades in advance. Wag the dog. Go watch it. I think it was Dustin Hoffman. That's what's happening. That's it. It's all theater. It's all staged. It's all a movie. All of it. So, given that, the movie does have consequences. There are problems that do occur. What do we got here? We got an officer sitting there. What's he doing? Gunning people? Interesting. County sheriff. Yeah, he's right in the prime position to start gunning people. You're talking on your phone, sir, when you're driving. Step out of the car. You're a threat. You don't have a mask on. What's wrong with you? Now, actually, our sheriff here in this county in Illinois has said, okay, the General Assembly and the governor signed it, they passed it in a lame duck session hours before the new Congress people were supposed to be sworn in. Here in Illinois, they passed an assault weapons ban. I'm going to get back to the whole coal plant thing, but an assault weapons ban. And I don't even know what assault weapons, what they considered, what was in it, because it was changing up until the last time. What is growing there? Stuff in rows growing, and I'm like, it's January. It's planted there. So it is kind of unseasonably warmer. So maybe something's coming up that didn't last year. But the assault weapons ban in Illinois was passed by the General Assembly and the governor signed it. Now they did this hours before the next Congress people were, the representatives were sworn in. Just hours. Lame duck session. They got this thing through. All right. It's already being challenged, courts. And what has happened is the sheriff association, not the association, maybe it is the association, but various sheriffs in this state of the counties have said, we're not going to enforce it. We're not enforcing it. And that's their right. The sheriff is directly elected by the people. It's like the governor. It's like the president. Representative of the entire county, that sheriff. Very important position, very powerful position. The sheriff has the duty to say, no, when there's an unconstitutional act being committed. Now, just because the state passed a, quote, law, doesn't make it law. And I mean law with a capital L, constitutional law. It is your duty to not obey unconstitutional law because you swear an oath to the Constitution. And so when there's unconstitutional law, you don't carry it out. It's just like when Governor Pritzker had the masking mandate. Everybody needs to wear it. You know, he had no way to enforce that other than the purse strings, other than money. And so school districts, if they didn't abide by it, well, we're going to cut off your funding. We're not going to send police officers in there to, you know, hey, you're all get masked up now, put your masks on, you know, because there's just not enough to do it. You can't enforce it. So you have to make people comply with it. It's not a law, it's a mandate. It's an executive order. It's just a mandate. It's not a law. And so people challenged it. Well, it got overturned in the courts. They're like, yeah, it's unconstitutional. You can't do that. Problem is, he did it. And so for a year and a half, it was in effect because people, they wanted their money. But it's the duty. And so a sheriff should have said, no. You know, in that case, you know, what are you going to do? Because the money comes from the state to the schools. The schools are like, hey, our funding's cut off. What do? We're being held hostage. Well, there are ways around that. Maybe you quit funding the state. Well, how do you fund the state? Quit funding it. So the sheriff, in this instance, should do the same thing. Get in front of it and say, no, not enforcing it. Take the thing to the courts. Let them fight it out. And then the sheriffs will be proven right. But if the sheriffs just go along with it and wait for the private citizen to go and file a court, you know, and fight it, and meanwhile they go through all that aggravation of their guns getting confiscated, hopefully they get it back, getting charged with a crime, who knows. I mean, and just the hassle, the inconvenience, the money spent, the legal fees spent, all that you have to go through to prove that you're right when you're right in the first place. And that's why the sheriff has to say, yeah, you're right in the first place. I'm not going to put you through that aggravation. You know, it's unconstitutional. I follow the Constitution. I'm not going to do this. And I'm not going to carry out this BS. And I don't care if the representatives passed it, because they can say that black people are slaves. Doesn't make it so. But if you've got a system that supports it, yeah, it kind of is, even though it's not right. But somebody has to stand up at some point and say enough is enough. I'm not going to go along with it. And then the battle usually gets fought in court. But you can save people a lot of aggravation by maintaining the rights that they already have, or at least protecting them. So anyway, don't want to get off on that rant too much. But yeah, that's what's going on in Illinois. I don't even know what assault weapons are banned. I really don't. I don't even know if it's, you know, over 30 capacity, under 30 capacity, over 30 capacity, you know, if it's a clip, if it's, I don't even know how many, you know, it's got to be a, you know, BB gun, you know, otherwise it's banned. Who knows? Everything's an assault weapon, right? Isn't anything in this fist is an assault weapon. This head, this hard head is an assault weapon. This digibug, this little digibug is an assault weapon. Squirrels get out of the way because they know it's an assault weapon. Anything. You look at what happened in Idaho. You know, this man's accused of murdering 4 people in their sleep. Did he use a gun? No. He used a knife. It's always a way. See, anything is a weapon. Anything is a weapon. Spraying stuff in the air, that's a weapon. Putting fluoride in the water, that's a weapon. There's a lot of things that are weapons. Stealing your energy in an unconstitutional way is a weapon. Taxing your labor is a weapon. So there's all kinds of weapons that you can use. The government just chooses to, I mean, it's just, they know it's not going to work. Most of the guns come from out of state anyway. And it's just, what are you going to do about all the people that already have them? What are you going to do? They've banned alcohol, didn't work. Banned drugs, doesn't work. Banned guns, not going to work. And it's just not going to work. And the only thing that makes a better society to where we're not running around 4-year-olds pointing guns at people and 6-year-olds shooting teachers, the only thing is education, is teaching people the danger of the weapon and how powerful it is. I mean, that's it. And then actually, keeping it out of so a 4-year-old can't or a 6-year-old can't get a hold of it. I mean, that's just completely irresponsible. It's like leaving a knife out on the table. Or here, have a sharp knife when you're eating, son. Sitting in the high chair. Here, have this, samurai sword. Cut your food up with it. It's just, I mean, come on. Extreme example. But you don't give them a sharp freaking knife to cut their food with it while they're eating or to play with. And it's just common sense stuff. And what's happening is there's not a lot of common sense. That's why some of these things are happening. And that's on the parent. What are you going to do about it? They can give them a knife. They can, here, just stick this into the socket. I mean, there's all these dangers, you got to try and protect them from. When you're not doing it, you're not a good parent. That's what it comes down to. But banning something is not going to fix it. Passing a law doesn't mean that it's going to fix it. It just doesn't. And the thing is with the law, we have all these checks and balances, sheriff being one of them, saying, no, not going to do it. Not going to enforce it. Well, we passed this law. And the governor actually had the audacity to say, well, he swore these sheriffs are wrong because they swore an oath to defend the law. And see, this is what they do. They mince words and they redefine things. And that's true. They did swear an oath to defend the law. But real law, constitutional law, not statute that you guys pass on a whim in a lame duck Congress. That's statute. That's not law. And see, this is where they try to confuse you. Well, it's law. We passed it into law. And it's like, no, it's really not law. Constitutional law is different than statute. And I'm no lawyer, but I know that. I know when there's freaking smoke coming out of a house, it's on fire. I don't have to be a fireman, okay? Or a fire investigator. Or Greta Thunberg. So anyway. And then the final ultimate check, the arbiter of justice, is the jury. So you break the law. Even if it's a constitutional law. I mean, even if it's, everybody thinks it's right. And then in a jury, if you're tried for it and then the jury sits there and listens to it and says, you know what, you as a jury, this goes back to the Supreme Court ruling way back in the early part of the Republic, to where as a juror, you not only sit in, I'm paraphrasing what the Supreme Court said, as a juror, you're not only sitting in judgment of the crime that's been committed, but you're also sitting in judgment of the law. So you can overturn the law as a jury. I mean, see, that's how powerful it is. Nobody wants to be on jury duty. I don't want to do it. I want to serve. Almost did on a murder case. I was like that close. Almost made it. But they probably don't want me on there because I'm going to, respect everybody's rights. And it's not like, hey, this guy did it. No, I'm going to look at it and make sure, I'm going to be fair. Because that's an individual. That's somebody's rights that I'm going to take away if I convict them. And I'm going to take it seriously. So a jury can overturn the law. You can commit a crime, go in front of the jury, have a trial, and the jury says, yeah, he did it. Absolutely did it. Broke the law. We're not going to convict him because we think the law is unjust. So you can overturn the law in that case, essentially, by not enforcing it. I mean, it's so powerful. People don't understand that. One person out of 12 can stalemate the whole process. So to convict with 12 people, that takes a lot of compelling evidence. But you can overturn it if you want to. And there's nothing the judge can say. They might say, well, you really need to, they try and persuade you to do certain things. But it doesn't matter. You can overturn it. And that's the power of a juror. And you got to understand that. And that's what makes America is so powerful, the idea of this republic, representing people's rights all the way down to the jury, and one person can stop the process. 12 people can overturn the law. So anyway, I want to get back to Greta Thunberg. And so don't underestimate yourself. See, that's the thing, the power of one individual. That's what this whole thing's built on. That's the difference between a democracy and a republic. A republic has all these checks and balances to represent your rights, to protect your rights. This constitutional republic. All those examples, the sheriff, the jury. I mean, just by not complying with what they say is law, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It can be overturned that easily, just with the power of energy, of not complying with it and saying, no, it's not just. That's a republic, where the individual's rights are most important. And then you have a democracy where if you've got 50% plus one, they can take away all the rest of the rights of the 49%. They can vote them away and steal them and basically enslave them and do whatever they want. I mean, that's what it comes down to. That's a democracy, a true democracy. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. 51% of the people can take away 49% of the people's stuff and their rights, and their lives, everything. I mean, majority rule, might makes right, baby. That's not the case. That is not the case. That is not why we have this country. It's a republic to protect people's rights, the rights of the innocent. Well, you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. You know, it's pretty expensive, you know, cracking those eggs. Comes back to get you. All right, Greta Thunberg, want to wrap up with that. Greta Thunberg with the fake arrest, you know, all staged, you know, photo op, BS, World Economic Forum, joke. I mean, don't give these people your power. Don't listen to them. But the problem is, the consequences are this. What they are doing is taking energy out of the old system, literally taking it out of the old system to where you've got coal plants, natural gas plants that produce energy reliably. Shutting that stuff down to where it can't expand. So you're putting a pinch on that. And then you've got this full-blown effort into electric. And I've seen it from several sources to where these car companies are ramping up. They're going all electric. Electric vehicles, that is the push. That's what they're doing, retooling, getting everything ready, all electric. Okay, that might be a good thing in theory, but realize where that electrical grid that they plug into to charge your car, where does that energy come from? It comes from coal, natural gas primarily. Now you've got wind and solar and we're going to add all this and it's going to be green. And okay, what's the cost of a windmill? The true cost. What's it cost to build that? What kind of energy do you have, the inputs to do that? The material, making the steel, hauling it with diesel trucks across the country in parts. These things are huge. I've seen them on trucks. Huge columns. Labor to put all that up. How much oil does it use? Because, you know, the thing turns around. In the cold, I mean, if it's negative 20 degrees, you know, because here in Illinois, we have extreme weather and we got a lot of windmills. What happens in extreme weather? I mean, how do they hold up? Wind's not always blowing. You can't just say, oh, yeah, feet off. Oh, shoot, there's no wind today. It's not turning. Crap. What happens what's the life cycle on it? How long do they last? How much energy do you get out of it on average in the life cycle? When the thing goes bad and you can't use it anymore, how do you take the thing down? Or is it just this monstrosity that just stands there with its arms frozen? No. How do you dispose of it? Okay, all the labor, all the work to dismantle it, put it on diesel trucks, haul it to a landfill somewhere, using a cat diesel tractor to dig a hole and push these things in and bury them. Or maybe it'll be an electric tractor by then. How are you going to, the windmill's not going, how do you charge it up? So there's all these things. I'm completely for, you know, not using things that pollute the atmosphere. And for a long time, coal adds a bunch of mercury to the lakes and water. And that's horrible. It really is. But we've been innovating our way out of that. Coal production and using coal plants has been much more efficient. I mean, they've taken more and more pollutants out of it. And it's not like China to where they don't even care. They're just going to run it and run it and run it. Meanwhile, you know, here we are clamping down everything. We're doing everything right as best as we can, trying to make things more efficient, and we get punished for it. So now we got to go, you know, all quote green. And like I said, look at the input of the windmills. Solar panels, what happens when they get dusty? What happens when they get snow on them? We get snow here. I mean, when they get a layer of dust, it's not going to generate as much electricity and as much juice. I mean, there's all these factors, but no. Before we have the new system ready and the infrastructure in place and charging stations everywhere to where, you know, every 200 miles you got to charge up, before that's even done, we're going to roll out the electric fleet. And it's going to feed off the old grid that's already overloaded. California, hey, don't plug in your cars and charge them up. You know, we're having a power shortage right now. This happened a few months ago. It's absolutely ridiculous. You know, they don't want the freedom of you having a full tank of gas and being able to just go. Oh, no, we can't charge the vehicle. The power is out. They're going to have to wait for it to come back on so you can charge it up and you can go somewhere. See, the independence of having that fuel, maybe you have a barrel of gas sitting on the side. Okay, well, otherwise, the alternative in the electric system is, you need a bank of batteries. I mean, and then where does that come from? Lithium, all these rare earth things that have to go into the batteries, all the child labor and slave labor, the pollution that, in getting this stuff out of the ground. I mean, these people are frauds. Oh, I got arrested. Oh, I got arrested by the police. They're taking me to jail. Give me a break. Bogus. It's all bogus. It's all a fraud. It's all about controlling you because they want an electric vehicle that drives itself, that's connected to their networks. It's got the Cbdc wallet running, so everywhere you go through a checkpoint down the interstate every so few hundred, 10 miles, whatever it is. Ching, ching, Cbdc money. Ching, 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 ching. Takes it right out of your wallet everywhere you go. Hey, you got to pay to travel. Wherever you go, it's going to cost you a little bit. The big guy needs a cut. And that's how it is. Complete control structure. Oh, yeah, we see that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You don't have your print card up to date, or you're not wearing your mask. We're going to penalize you and deduct it directly from your Cbdc wallet because we can do that. Or, we're going to put a time limit on the money and say, we're going to freeze it up for about 6 hours. You can't spend anything, can't go anywhere. The car's not going to go. Or you get into a point where, this guy did something really bad. He spoke out against the Führer. So gets in the car, boom, locks. Oh, crap, I can't, where are we going? The car drives itself right to the processing station. Used to be a police station, but now it's a processing station. Get in here, they come out and take you out of the car, re-educate you, whatever they have to do. See, they want total control. Total control of your money, total control of your life, your travel, everything. Food supply, you see what they're doing now. Artificial shortages. Absolutely ridiculous. But that's what they're doing. And you're seeing it. I mean, you're seeing the beginning. Hey, what was it like, Grandpa, living through the control grid, start of the surveillance system grid? What was it like in the early days, when the New World Order was taking over? Oh, yeah, I remember. We used to have the gas vehicles, and we used to have diesel. We used to have gas. We could go where we wanted to. It got expensive. They tried to squeeze us out of it, and then, electric cars, we kind of got pushed into that. And, I'm going to be like Cuba. I'll be like Cuba, driving around old digibugs. Because I'm not doing it. You got to not feed the system and realize what the system's doing and realize how they're trying to usher you into it. It's all going to go digital. It's good to have physical assets in your possession because you need physical items in your possession. You need food. How many people wish they had chickens now? That's the next big run. Chicken run. I need chickens. We need to get some chickens, honey. We need to get eggs. Peak egg prices when everybody's going out and getting chickens. So we probably reached it, and it's going to go down now. But that's what everybody should be doing, if you can. If you're eating eggs every day, you should probably have some chickens. Have a supply. If you can't live without them, and I need my scrambled breakfast, then you should probably have some chickens produce the eggs, if you need it that badly. Find ways to do it. Get the things you need. You're going to need sound money. You're going to need digital money. Sound digital money. It's going digital. Everything's going digital. That's why I preach so much about Litecoin. Finite supply. Only so much to go around. There's only enough Litecoin. 84 million. Only enough for 0.01 for each person in the world. 8 billion people, 84 million Litecoin, 0.01 Litecoin for you. That's it. No Litecoin for you. 0.01, 1/100th of a Litecoin. And if everybody listening gets one Litecoin for everyone in their family, guess what? You're 100 times ahead of the average person. All of you. Litecoin will reach its fair value. It will do very well this year. Will it reach its, fair value this year? I don't know. If things really fall apart, it could, and there's a flood to it, for privacy. Probably not until 2025. End of 24, into 25, will you really see it run? I could be completely wrong though. I just know that it's gonna do well going into the Litecoin halving in August 3rd, I think is when it's slated for. And I looked at it again yesterday. I'm still sticking to it. June 17th. That time frame right in there. Give or take a few days. I'm just going to put a date on June 17th. I think is when it's going to have a nice little peak right before the halving, and then it's going to drop like it has in the past, and then it'll go back up. So I mean, if you're like trading in and out, that peak I think is going to be like right around June 17th at about $240, probably 260 to 300, but 240, and then it'll drop back down, probably under 200. And then it'll consolidate, and then it'll launch back up for that, massive moonshot. I could be totally off base, but I'm just going with historical trends, looking at history. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the price is. When you can't transact value because you're stuck in a CBDC system and there's no cash anymore, you can use physical silver, physical gold. You can do that. A little harder to transact with because you can't make change so well. You can use Litecoin. It's on a decentralized network with computers running the code. No government involved, no central bank involved. It's never stopped working for 11 years. Just works. You can do that, and that's the value of it, the true value of it. Something that works, has never stopped working. When you need to transfer value and you can't do it any other way, Litecoin's going to work. And DigiByte's going to work. DigiByte's been run for 9 years, and the transaction fees are like nothing. Litecoins are under a penny. DigiBytes are fractions of pennies. And DigiByte does it in 15-second blocks. I mean, it's boom there. Boom, 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 quick. It's just got 21 billion, so there's a lot more. It's not as scarce, but it's still got a fixed supply. Both of them in conjunction are perfect. All right. Rambled enough. I'm like half an hour into this almost. The phone's probably going to die. All right, it's Wednesday. I love you all. Don't fall into the fraud. Don't give your energy to this vampire system. It's completely corrupt. It's nothing but an illusion. Nothing but an illusion. That's what it is. Break your mind out of that and see it and kind of get behind the set and get backstage and realize what they're doing and say, this is all a show. This is all a show. Corvette Confidential, Joe Biden documents. Hey, Mr. Biden, would you like to comment about this? Nothing. Crickets. Won't say a word about it. Documents flying around everywhere. Hunter Biden, corrupt, making deals with foreign governments, giving his cut to the big guy, walking through the house, the garage, confidential information everywhere. Supposedly rented the house. I mean, had access to all this stuff. This is a national security threat. It's obvious. I mean, all these people are national security threats. Let's see what other presidents and vice presidents have left lying around. And another interesting thing is, why doesn't Obama sweep in and say, hey, I declassified all that stuff? Could he do that and get Biden off the hook? And if so, why is he not doing it? Enjoy the show, folks. All right. Love y'all. Hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. Missed yesterday, so this is like a double portion. All right. Trust yourselves. I mean, seriously, you've got to trust yourselves in all this and use discernment and realize that it's all an illusion. All an illusion. Disconnect from it. Find your own path. Manifest your own reality. It really comes down to that. It's what you give power to. You give power to an illusion called a dollar, and you look at it and you're like, it says Federal Reserve note. It's not even a dollar. What's going on here? Give your power to things of real value. When you hold a piece of silver in your hand and you look at it, you're like, okay, that's pretty, it's kind of a game changer. Yeah. And when you send your first Litecoin transaction and then receive your first Litecoin transaction, you start to realize, that's all outside of any banking system, any government, and I can just do it on a decentralized network. Been running for over 11 years. You realize the power of it. You realize the sovereignty that you then have. So, look into Litecoin if you haven't. Physical silver is always good, too. I always carry around a silver coin in my pocket to remind me. Plus, it's got antiviral, bacterial, rub it in your hands and when you're around all these vampires. All right. Have a wonderful day. Love y'all. Talk to you tomorrow. Trust yourselves. Okay?